Good evening and welcome to a continuation of the program we are doing with the candidates for office for November 6th. This is being brought to you by Cuyahoga Community College and the Citizen. I'm your moderator, Guy Cosentino. On November 6th, the voters in the city of Auburn will be able to go to the polling places to elect a new city court judge. Judge Michael McCune decided earlier this year not to seek a second term, and we are delighted to have both candidates for office in the studio today to have 5-minute presentations to the voters about their qualifications and what they think is important. They are sitting in the order of a coin toss about who will go first and who will go second. Stephen Bushman is on the Republican, Conservative, and Independent Party lines, and David Thurston, who is the current City Court judge, is on the Democratic Working Families Party as well. Unlike most races, we do not get into issues here for them, so we've asked both gentlemen to take a few minutes to talk about themselves. With that in mind, you know what? We need to start over because I shouldn't have said something I said.
Okay, since we're kind of cut right now. So the one with the red light is where I will end up looking?
This one.
Okay.
Good evening and welcome to the continuation of programming that we are bringing to you this year from Cuyahoga Community College and the Citizen for those seeking office for on November 6th. Voters in the city of Auburn will be able to choose a new city court judge. Michael McCune decided not to seek re-election this year to a third term. He was elected 2 decades ago. We are delighted to have in the studios the two gentlemen who are running to replace him right now, and they are in the order of a draw: Stephen Bushman, who's on the Republican, Conservative, and Independent lines, and the Associate City Court Judge currently, David Thurston, who's on the Democratic and Working Families Party lines. These races, we don't get to ask questions, but we allow the candidates to introduce themselves to the voters and get to have you get to know them. With that in mind, we are giving them each up to 5 minutes to talk about themselves in an uninterrupted format. Through a flip of the coin, they have decided who will go first and who will conclude. One of our students from the college will be keeping tabs on their time, Matt, who is a student here at the college. Speaking first will be Stephen Bushman, who, as I said, is on the Republican, Conservative, and Independence lines. Mr. Bushman, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you. First, I'd like to say thank you to Guy for inviting me here and to the Citizen and the students at Cuyahoga Community College for putting this on. So a little bit about myself. I'm a born and bred Auburnian. I'm the youngest of 9 children. I have to give a shout out to my parents, who are now deceased, Robert and Shirley Bushman, who taught me early on about attempting to do things for my community without necessity of seeking anything in return. And that's one of the reasons I'm running for City Court Judge. I was educated here in Auburn. I went to Blessed Trinity. I graduated from Auburn High School in 1989. Got my undergraduate degree in business administration from SUNY Oswego, and attended law school at the University of Akron. While I was at the University of Akron, I was on the editorial board for the Law Review, and I had the blessing of being a research assistant for Elizabeth Dean Riley, who was a huge mentor of mine. After graduating from law school, I came back to the city of Auburn for familial issues and ended up passing the New York State Bar and started working for a small practice here in Auburn, New York. After a couple of years of doing that, I struck out on my own with another former lawyer from Auburn, Michael Bass, and we opened up our own firm. Fast forward about 20 years later, and the current iteration of that firm is WHMB PC, which is on Court Street in Auburn, New York. I'm a senior partner there, and it consists of 5 attorneys and 7 understaff. Primarily, during the 20-plus years I've been practicing, I practice in the areas of criminal law, real estate, domestic relations, landlord-tenant, housing issues, family court, and support issues. During the course of my representation in these courts, which have been in Auburn and surrounding counties, I have met many people throughout the course of this community, from rich to poor, and dealing with all sorts of problems and issues. I've estimated, without counting, that I've represented thousands of people in these courts. And during my course of representation, and I think an important factor in the Auburn City Court, is I've dealt with a lot of familial breakdown issues as well as addiction issues and behavioral health issues. I've always attempted to represent my clients zealously, and I've also attempted to provide them with straightforward advice and in accordance with the law. I think it's important to note that during the course of my 20-year career, I've been a litigator and a courtroom attorney. That means that I do a lot of time in court, appearing, whether it be in criminal court or in civil court, Supreme Court, for family court matters and divorce matters. I feel very confident in that arena. I feel confident in my hold of the law or grasp of the law and courtroom procedure. As far as community involvement outside of the law, I've been involved in youth sports, and I've coached baseball and basketball teams for the last 10 years. I've sat on nonprofit boards, including Booker T. Washington here in Auburn, New York. And recently, and I'm proud of this, I've co-founded an Auburn Blizzard Basketball, which is a youth basketball program here in Auburn that provides opportunity for boys and girls who love the game of basketball. I've never been involved directly with politics before. I've never run for office, and I did so at this time as I consider the importance of Auburn City Court as a front line in the justice system, dealing with so many different issues within Auburn. City Court deals with domestic violence issues, child welfare issues, and housing issues, and the ever-increasing problems with behavioral health and addiction that are plaguing our community. Before I decided to run, I talked to a lot of people in the legal community about my qualifications based upon their knowledge of my professional and personal life, and received positive reviews as to my ability to do the job of Auburn City Court judge. Most of them encouraged me to run, and I wanted to give the people of Auburn a choice. I've run this campaign as a grassroots coalition of voters across all parties. I have an independent line called People Over Politics, and I'm attempting to bring everybody together in such a difficult political climate that have community safety and equal justice, and also want to tackle or help in the addiction and behavioral health issues that plague our current community. I appreciate the time, and I hope for your support on November 6th in the general election. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bushman. We'll now hear from Associate City Court Judge David Thurston, who's on the Democratic and Working Families Party lines. Mr. Thurston, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you. I want to thank Guy Cosentino, as well as the students, the faculty, and staff here at the Community College for allowing me this opportunity to share why I feel I'm the most qualified candidate for Auburn City Court Judge. Along with my sisters, Sarah and Katie Thurston, I was born and raised here in Auburn by my parents, Earl and Susan. I graduated from Auburn High School, went to college at Binghamton University. After graduating from college, I took a year off to work, and from there I worked nights and weekends to put myself through law school at Syracuse University. After graduating from law school, I moved back to Auburn to go into practice with my father, Earl, and I've been here ever since. I married my wife, Stephanie Hutchinson. Together we have two amazing kids, Leah, who's 5 years old, and my son, Ben, who just turned 1. I've been practicing law for 14 years, and I have been admitted to practice in both state and federal courts, during which time I've developed broad experience litigating cases at all different levels. I've appeared in courts across the state, and I've litigated countless types of cases, ranging from complex commercial cases to criminal cases, and nearly everything in between. To develop that kind of experience requires very hard work. It requires a lot of time and dedication to earn the trust of people who are facing very difficult situations for themselves, their families, and their livelihoods. It was because of that experience that in 2014 I was appointed Associate City Court Judge by the City Council. It was a true honor at the time to receive that appointment because I was supported by both the Democrats as well as the Republicans serving on the City Council. It was a genuinely bipartisan decision in an age when that has become, unfortunately, the exception rather than the rule. Since becoming judge, I've worked very hard to earn the support and the respect of the community, and I believe that shows in the amount of support that I've received in this campaign. I've been honored to receive the endorsement of both the Auburn Police Union, Local 195, as well as the custody officers of the Sheriff's Employees Association, along with 3 former judges as well as numerous attorneys that practice in our court. These are the people and the groups who know me, who know our court, and know how I conduct myself in the courtroom. I've also been endorsed by the Working Families Party, the Cayuga County Labor Council, and I believe it was my experience and hard work that led to my victory in the Democratic primary just a little over a month ago. At Auburn City Court, every year we see over 5,000 files. We handle everything from very serious criminal cases to parking tickets. We are extremely busy and play a very important role in our community. We have an amazing dedicated staff and experienced judges who work hard every day to make our community a better place. At City Court, we also operate multiple treatment courts to specifically address individuals with substance abuse problems, behavioral health issues, as well as domestic violence cases. As a judge, I've also been on call around the clock 24 hours a day, which means a lot of late nights and a lot of weekend hours on top of the already busy caseload that we see. All of this is to say that the importance of City Court cannot be understated, and experience matters. Qualifications matter. I truly believe that I am the most experienced and best qualified candidate for this position, and that is why I'm asking for your support. I can tell you that it hasn't always been the easiest role these past few years, trying to balance both being a judge, operating a busy law practice, while also having a wife who works full-time and raising 2 young kids. And my wife can certainly attest that my hair is a lot grayer than it used to be, but it has been a deeply rewarding experience for me to serve. It's been a true honor and a privilege to serve as the Associate City Court Judge. And I'm asking for your support and your vote on November 6th so that we can continue to do the good work that we do for this community. I thank you for your time and for your consideration.
Thank you, Judge Thurston. And again, you've heard from both of the candidates vying for the Auburn City Court judgeship. You'll be able to go to the polls if you live in the city of Auburn on November 6th to vote for either gentleman. We want to thank you both for running. It's not always easy, and we understand that this is always a busy time of year for candidates, but we thank you for putting yourself out there and your families as well. And again, you've heard from Stephen Bushman, who's on the Republican, Conservative, and Independent lines, as well as Associate City Court Judge David Thurston, who's on the Democratic and Working Families Party lines. You'll be able to see this, if not on Spectrum tonight. You'll be able to tune in to The Citizen and look online at auburnpub.com to view this presentation as well as all of the other forums. As well, you can come on to media at Cayuga, which is the college's YouTube station, and look at this as well. A quick programming note or two. In just a moment, we'll have a special edition of Inside Government with Justin Woods, the County Administrator, who we had hoped to bring to you at the end of September. And on Tuesday, on October 23rd, Dana Balter will be in the studio for a one-on-one interview for the 24th congressional seat. She is challenging incumbent John Katko. If you haven't paid attention to the paper or the radio or the television or gotten a mailer or two since the beginning of the year. John Katko was available to participate in Tuesday's event. His campaign has so far declined our invitation. At this point, unless both candidates appear, I will be doing the questioning, which is not the norm. We usually have Jeremy Boyer, the executive editor of The Citizen, do that. If you have any ideas for questions, you can send them to Inside Government, 141 Dunning Avenue, Auburn, New York, 13021, or send an email to cozguytho@aol.com. On Thursday, October 25th, we hope to bring you, we are going to bring you both candidates for the 50th Senate District. This is the Race to Succeed, Senator John DeFrancisco, who covers parts of the city of Auburn and then east in the community and the county. He has Republican Robert Antonacci and opponent Democrat John Mannion will be here in the studio with, as I said, Jeremy Boyer asking the questions and I will do the moderating. We'll close out our forums on Tuesday, October 30th with the race for the 126th Assembly District that faces incumbent Assemblyman Gary D. Finch, a Republican, and his challenger, Cuyahoga County Legislator Keith Batman, who is a Democrat. Until Tuesday, and otherwise, we hope you'll tune in for Inside Government in a moment. For Cuyahoga Community College and the Citizen, I'm Guy Cosentino. We hope you have a good night and a great tomorrow.